Welcome to Riverstone Reviews. In these current times where for some unknown reason many of you have found yourselves isolated in quarantine, stuck eating whatever you had in the cabinet, getting on each other's nerves, wanting to get outside, self-grooming, and boredom-inspiring strange behavior, you may have found yourself surfing streaming services and come across the film called The Divide, a 2011 apocalyptic psychological horror. The Divide, directed by French director Xavier Gens, written by Carl Mueller and Iran Sheehan, with a star cast of Michael Biehn, Roseanne Arquette, Courtney Vance, Lauren German, and Milo Ventimiglia. The premise of the film is that strangers stuck in a fallout shelter must work together or fall apart. The theme is that bombs and weapons are no match for duct tape and box cutters, and that in the end, a beautiful woman will always burn you. We will be trying to figure out how a film with some fantastically chilling, creepy moments can be so bad. Warning, there will be spoilers, so if you wish to skip to them and go to my rating of this film, skip to the time below. So duct tape those windows, seal the cellar door, fire up the generator, and grab your beef jerky as we descend into the depths of the divide. Our movie starts with a tear rolling down the cheek of our protagonist as a missile rains upon the city and explodes. Impervious to the flash blindness of an atomic explosion, our heroine outruns the destruction wave of the bomb approaching at 1,000 miles an hour. The blast wave hits the glass, but following building policy for non-residents to not enter without permission, the blast wave politely remains outside the building. In the basement, they reach Mickey, the building superintendent, who decides not to close the bomb shelter blast door until survivors bear down on it. The survivors are able to push past Mickey before he closes the door, and then they cower in the bunker as the building rumbles above. Mickey turns on power as he explains nuclear bomb radiation, that no one should open the bunker door, and make sure each person knows how much of an asshole he is. He gives them a tour, specifically the bathroom and septic outhouse-style toilet, and says his bedroom is off limits. He then opens cans of beans for them. Suddenly, some of the survivors decide it's okay to leave. Wielding an axe, Mickey prevents that from happening. So they sit and wait. Eva flicks light on and off in her own face because she likes to annoy herself. Marilyn shows affection for her daughter. Eva shows there's no loving connection between her and her fiancé Sam because why would an engaged couple bond together in a life-threatening emergency? Wait, her name is Eva, the European version of Eve? Are they saying Eva will be the lone survivor to rebuild humanity, telling us who will survive at the beginning of this film? Nah, the filmmakers wouldn't have put in such an obvious cast from the Garden of Eden to be the sole mother of humanity reference. I must apologize here. I'm being a pretentious critic, reading something into nothing.
Let there be light.
What?
Not exactly the Garden of Eden.
I guess the filmmakers are being that obvious. Might as well take a moment to run through the rest of the survivors' names real quick. You just met Garden of Eva, Sam the Simp, Militia Mickey, Mother Marilyn doting on her daughter, Belligerent Bobby, Amicable Adrian, Defiant Delvin, and Adrian's brother, Janky Josh. Back to our story. Josh complains about always eating beans, creating more confrontation with Mickey. Sam decides this is a good moment to stand up to Mickey. Mickey bitch slaps Sam, humiliating him in front of Eva, but Eva doesn't care. Suddenly, noise at the door turns into sparks as a welding torch cuts through the metal from the other side. While the survivors are hopeful these are rescuers, Mickey and Delvin are suspicious of what's happening and back away deeper into the bunker. Soldiers in military-style hazmat suits with advanced rifles burst in, force the survivors back, and grab the only child, Marilyn's daughter, inject her, bag her, and carry her out. The survivors realize this is not a rescue, and they run for their lives. The soldiers search the bunker to find and kill them. These highly trained armored soldiers soon realize they are no match for the unarmed survivors. Mickey kills one with a box cutter and takes his rifle. Delvin beats one helmeted guy with a pipe because the helmet was for show and not meant to protect his head. And the last soldier stands still, targeting Sam with a laser scope while patiently waiting for Mickey to shoot him in the back. The shot strikes the soldier's oxygen supply, causing it to explode, but causing no harm to Mickey or Sam, who are protected by their t-shirts. Mickey then chains the bunker door shut. Amicable Adrian was shot and badly injured, but will survive with the help of a tiny first aid kit and Eva, who has no medical training. Eva gives romantic eyes to Adrian, then goes to find Sam, her fiancé, who's in shock and she shows no sympathy to. They strip off the uniform of one of the invading soldiers and check his ID, seeing he is an American government operative. Marilyn goes crazy and tries to open the bunker door, so they restrain her and lock her in a storage room to calm her down. They wrap the dead soldiers in plastic. Bored and blah blah blah, they accuse Mickey of holding out food. Conveniently, Mickey is carrying around a giant sausage in his pocket at that moment because his character needed to do something nonsensical to validate their suspicions. Tensions flare up. They argue that one of them should go out wearing the environmental suit to see what's going on. Finally, they agree on Janky Josh. Opening the door, Josh goes outside. Right outside the door is a plastic tunnel connected to an entrance and leading to a network of plastic tunnels. Wait a minute. Before the explosion, they had to run down flights of stairs underground to reach the bunker, but suddenly the bunker's at ground level? Moving on, Josh works his way through the network of translucent plastic tunnels until he finds a laboratory setup with soldiers working there. He sees jars of body parts and bins of hair. Going into the next room, he sees liquid-filled vats with bald children hooked up to breathing tubes and their eyes bandaged shut. One he recognizes as Marilyn's daughter. One soldier is suspicious and confronts Josh. They struggle. Josh knocks the soldier over, and despite their military training, Josh easily kills them. Not being chased, Josh drops the gun while fleeing back to the bunker because the story needs the survivors to have only one rifle from here on out. They let Josh in and shut the bunker door, while Josh rips off the uniform in a freaked-out frenzy from what he saw. Then glowing sparks jump from the door, and they realize the soldiers are welding their bunker door shut. Later, Josh notices his gums are starting to bleed from radiation exposure. Eva then checks on Adrian's gunshot as the attraction between the two grows, for no other reason than they like staring at each other's eyes. Sam sees what's going on. The smell of the decomposing bodies begins to overwhelm the bunker. Mickey uses his usual creepy charm to say they should have eaten the soldiers before they went bad, and now their only choice is to cut up the decomposing bodies. Unwilling to show Mickey he's vulnerable, Bobby volunteers. Bobby forces himself through it. Mickey then helps him wrap up the body parts, and they drop the parts into the outhouse-style toilet. Bobby is numb from what he had to do. Marilyn comforts Bobby. Delvin walks by Mickey's empty room, then hears a noise of a door opening and suddenly sees Mickey inside. Delvin asks Mickey how he got in the room, and asks what is he hiding. Mickey tells him to shove off. When Mickey is out of his room, the rest of the survivors go in and search his stuff, and we find out that Mickey was a firefighter who was at the World Trade Towers on 9/11. And wait, what? A firefighter from the most racially diverse city in the world who dedicated his life to saving people and was a hero on 9/11 has turned into a paranoid racist who doesn't care if people die. Whatever, let's move on. Mickey comes back and is furious. Delvin approaches Mickey with a baseball and says Mickey stole that ball from Delvin's apartment. The tension between Delvin and Mickey increases. Later, Marilyn and Bobby have sex. Eva is worried about Marilyn's mental state. Marilyn tells Eva she needs to loosen up and have some fun. Then Marilyn and Bobby begin groping at Eva. Repulsed by their actions, Eva pushes them away. Mickey then tells them that they are low on food and water. Josh, Devlin, and Sam all yell at Mickey and call him a liar and say that he's trying to starve them so he can have all the food for himself. After punching Josh, Mickey leaves. Josh tells Bobby and Adrian that they need to get into Mickey's room to somehow find the food he's hiding. Delvin decides not to wait anymore, and he takes a taser gun and... Wait, what? Where did this taser gun come from, and why didn't anyone use it before? Damn it, I'm getting tired of this stupid illogical script. Moving on, Delvin takes the taser gun and heads to Mickey's room. Eva sees and follows. Delvin sneaks into Mickey's room and sees him closing a door behind a wall hanging. Eva watches through a door crack as Delvin sticks the taser in Mickey's face and forces Mickey to open the door. They both enter the hidden back room beyond Eva's sight. Delvin sees a room full of food and supplies. Mickey's eyes a soldier's rifle on the table next to him. Shots are fired. Eva runs to get the others, and when they come back, the secret door is closed. Delvin is dead on the floor, and Mickey says it was an accident. Eva tells the others that Mickey shot Delvin. The four men grab Mickey while Eva carry the rifle. They duct tape Mickey to a wheelchair. Unable to figure out the combination to the locked back door, they threaten to kill Mickey. They then tell Eva to give them the gun. Eva, not wanting any more killing, throws the gun down the outhouse-style toilet into the septic sewage below. Josh and Bobby start torturing Mickey, but Mickey won't give them the combination. Josh and Bobby cut off Mickey's finger. Mickey tells them the combination. They all go into Mickey's room to open the door. Inside Mickey's back room, they find it filled with food and water, even booze, and another soldier's hazmat suit. Bobby then wheels Mickey into the storage room and poops on his leg. They then all go on a food-eating binge. Eva still ignores Sam. Marilyn starts bleeding between the legs and tries to wash it with a water bottle. Josh yells at Marilyn for wasting water. Josh has taken control. Marilyn tries to soothe Bobby, but Bobby scolds her like a dog, then finds a clump of Marilyn's hair in his mouth. Josh verbally assaults Marilyn. Eva comes to Marilyn's defense, but Marilyn yells at Eva, telling her to mind her own business. Marilyn then starts making out with Bobby. Distraught, Eva leaves and Sam chases after her. Eva pounds at the front door, wishing she could get out, but knowing she can't. She cries on Sam's shoulder, and Sam decides now is a good time to finally man up and try to kiss her. She resists and pushes Sam, shoving him to the floor. Eva then goes to Mickey's room and looks through the door crack and stares at Bobby and Marilyn having kinky sex while Josh washes and tosses peanuts at them. Wait, what? She's too repulsed to kiss her own fiancé, but she watches Marilyn having kinky sex. I mean, she stays until Marilyn has a screaming orgasm. Why does Eva do this? When they finish, Eva leaves. As she walks down the hall, Adrian suavely invites Eva into his room for a nightcap. She agrees. They share a drink, and then Eva takes his hand and kisses it. Next day, Josh gives Eva a small amount of rations, but tells Eva if she wants more, he'd be willing if she'd do sexual favors for him. Adrian shows up and says the food is everyone's food. Eva feeds Mickey. Mickey asks to be let free. Eva tells Mickey he withheld food from them. Mickey says he did it to test who would go bad, which makes the act of starving them okay. He then whispers in her ear and says that there's another gun hidden in the storage room. Eva tells Sam about the hidden gun, but Sam says Mickey's lying. Sam then reminds Eva that she was only a drug addict living on the streets when he found her. Wait, what? Their backstory is Sam's a successful lawyer who took a drug-addicted Eva off the streets and made her his fiancée? Oh man, this stupidity is starting to make my head hurt. I'm just gonna finish the story. Eva goes to Josh's room, where Josh, Bobby, and Sam drink. They bully Sam, and they force Eva to join them. Josh asks Eva if she loves Sam. It takes Eva forever to answer, but she finally says, yeah. Eva then asks Josh if he enjoyed torturing Mickey. He says, no, but it must have been done. Josh then asks Eva what has she done for them. Sam jumps in, but Mickey accuses Sam of contributing nothing as well. Josh tells Sam his contribution now will be cutting up Delvin's rotting body. Buckling under pressure, Sam agrees. They go into the room where Delvin's body is, but Sam is too emotionally weak to follow through. Josh then gives the axe to Eva. Not backing down, Eva chops away. Later, we see Josh is losing more hair. Josh decides to shave off all his hair, then shaves all Bobby's hair off too. Bobby finally breaks, puts on a dress and makeup. Eva goes to Mickey and begs him to tell her where the gun is hidden. Mickey tells Eva it's in a red coffee can. Then for no reason at all, Mickey tells her there's another way out, down the toilet into the septic system. Wait, what? I already had trouble believing he built a septic system under an urban apartment building, but he had also built an escape route in it too? This is the first time a MacGuffin has been a toilet. So Eva goes to the storage room to get the gun, but runs into Josh and Bobby, who surround her and grope at her. Eva then looks to the bed and sees Marilyn's dead. Eva scurries off. Eva then notices her hair is starting to fall out, and she finally decides it's a good time to make an escape. Eva shuts off the power and tells Sam he must get the gun while she runs off to distract Josh. Eva then finds Josh and acts like she wants to have sex with him, taking him to another room. Josh grabs Eva. She fights back, and he hits her in the head and rapes her. Bobby finds Sam snuck into the storage room. Bobby asks why Sam is there, and Sam makes the excuse he's hungry. Bobby then kisses whimpering Sam, pushes Sam's head to his crotch, and shaves part of his head. Bobby then laughs at Sam and opens the storage room for Sam to get some food. Sam sees the coffee can and goes for the gun, but nervous, he drops the gun. Bobby bends down to get the gun, but Sam finally gets some balls and kicks Bobby in the face, knocking him over. Sam then picks up the gun and forces Bobby to back into the hallway. Eva wakes up and realizes she's being raped. She grabs a tool near her hand, turns around, and stabs Josh with it. Josh tries to kill her, but Adrian comes in and rescues her. Eva runs away and comes down the hall where Sam has Bobby at gunpoint. Adrian and Josh show up chasing after her, and everyone surrounds Sam. Bobby and Josh dare Sam to shoot him with the gun. Adrian tells Sam to give him the gun. Eva tells Sam to give Adrian the gun. Sam decides his best course of action is to shoot the wounded Adrian. Eva ignores Josh and Bobby jumping on Sam, instead staring deep into the eyes of the dying Adrian. Josh holds Sam on the ground. Bobby raises the gun as if he's going to shoot Josh in the head instead of Sam. Eva grabs an empty can of beans on the ground, which happens to be conveniently lying next to her, and pulls the lid off. Eva grabs Bobby from behind, and Bobby raises his arm and makes a pose, politely waiting for Eva to slit his throat with the lid. When she does, Bobby does not resist. Eva then takes the gun. Josh decks her as she falls to the ground. Forgetting about the gun, Josh now decides his brother Adrian is the most important thing to him. As he consoles his dying brother, Eva gets up and runs off with the gun. Eva runs to Mickey and frees him from the chair, then gives Mickey the gun. Mickey protects Eva, shooting Josh. Josh stumbles into the bedroom, grabs a lit lantern, and comes out to face Mickey. Josh proceeds to set himself ablaze and run down the hall. Unfortunately, Mickey made the bunker out of flammable concrete and combustible metal, causing this fallout shelter to instantly become a fiery inferno. Sam suddenly shows up and helps Mickey beat back the fire with their t-shirts. Wait, what? Mickey's background is a New York firefighter, and the best idea he has to stop an inferno is use his flammable shirt to fight a raging fire. A fireman prepared for Armageddon who forgot a fire extinguisher? My God, who wrote this stuff? Let's just finish the story. Eva, having enough of these toxic men, decides to make her escape from the bunker. Eva runs off and locks Mickey and Sam in the bunker as she puts on a hazmat suit. Mickey notices Eva is gone and goes after her. As Mickey and Sam try to break through the door to reach Eva, Eva breaks off the toilet cover and jumps down the hole into the septic system below. As she wades through poop, Mickey has a thought and smiles, realizing Eva is the one who deserves to survive, letting the audience know he is okay with Eva leaving them to die. Sam and Mickey then are burned to death. Suddenly on the surface, Eva sees complete annihilation, a flattened, scorched city with nowhere to go, to end on a close-up of her face the same way the film started. Oh man, that made my head hurt. First, let me compliment the success of the crew and the cast. The makeup and costume design is great. The set design and lighting are spot on, and the cinematography is really well done. And the moments the actors get to perform a scene, they do not only give fantastic performances, but the way they react and play off each other makes the cast a true ensemble. Roseanne Arquette's descent makes a victimized character who wants to be victimized. Bobby and Josh are portrayed right on the edge of insanity, so they teeter from crazy to calm, and it's both unpredictable and believable. Michael Biehn creates tension in the scene even when the script doesn't give him much to work with. Even the actor playing Sam goes all in creating the classic weak character an audience loves to hate. But the film can't cover up its stereotypes. Sam is a wimpy lawyer, Bobby and Josh leather street toughs, and slutty Marilyn, who conveniently gets trapped in the bunker in her robe and nightgown. The story was also filled with utter nonsense, like the underground bunker that is suddenly on ground level, unarmed trained civilians killing 5 armored soldiers, a stun gun silently appearing, a concrete bunker catching fire from a couple ounces of lantern oil, and a toilet with an escape route. Although these kinds of silly things can be entertaining in a campy low budget, the rest of the film is done at such a high quality, it makes it impossible to laugh at. The director tries to show too much just for a visual effect. This film would have been much more effective if less was shown. If we didn't see the missile strike at the beginning but only heard the blasts as the survivors rushed for the cellar, we would be left wondering if it was a nuclear blast or just a conventional bomb. Then we wouldn't know whether to believe Mickey when he said the door must stay closed, or if we believe the survivors who think it might be safe to exit. The same would have been when Mickey shoots Delvin. If we didn't see Delvin in the back room or Mickey eyeing up the rifle, but instead only saw them enter and heard a gunshot, we wouldn't know whether Mickey did kill him in self-defense or if he intentionally killed Delvin. We as the audience would have had to decide ourselves whether we believed Mickey or Eva who accused him of murder. Showing less forces the audience to make their own decisions, emotionally investing the audience in events. There is no suspense in knowing the answer than watching survivors debate over what happened. So let's wrap this up. I give this film a C-, and it's only getting that rating because the fantastic ensemble moments created by the cast, great cinematography, set design, costume design, hair and makeup. But the script is filled with cliches, obvious symbolism, and nonsensical character backstories, and the direction is so intent on creating a visual spectacle, it undermines logic. It's impossible to take this film seriously, and yet the film takes itself so seriously, it's hard to laugh at its flaws. Is it worth a watch? Only if you are a horror film buff. The actors and cinematographer create some truly disturbing moments that you can add to your repertoire of nightmares. But if you want a film that won't be predictable from the start, you don't want stereotypical characters or cliche scenarios or MacGuffin toilets, make sure not to cross the divide separating you from seeing this film. That's it. Hope you enjoyed the review. Leave a comment, click like, or subscribe, and I'll see you in the next Riverstone review. And remember, in the river of life, don't let yourself get pushed around by the currents. Be yourself. Be a stone in the river.